And it's with great sadness that Eddie Jrdan has passed away today, the 20th of March, 2025, 1948 to 2025. An absolute legend in the sport. Most will know him for being the Jordon F1 team boss. Others may know him for being one of the outspoken yet fun, interesting, sometimes controversial pundits on BBC One and Channel 4, and his own podcast with David Coulthard, Eddie Jrdan. And with his Jordon team, yes, they were a midfield team at first. They came on the fold in 1991 with a bang, with the green and blue iconic 7-Up livery, and also the iconic yellow livery, sporting a snake, a hornet, and eventually a shark. Yet buzzing in hornets, anyone bitten and hisses, be on edge. An absolute marketing genius along with his team, who challenged legit in 1999 for the F1 drivers title along with Heinz Howell Frentzen. Here we go. We are going to remember Eddie Jrdan. This is him. He is a legend. And it's actually really sad. I was absolutely shocked. A lot of people knew he was going through cancer treatment, but at no point I thought did anyone think he was as ill as he was. He looked thin, but he still looked really, really good. And we've got tributes aplenty for it coming out, and we'll be talking about the tributes. We'll be talking about his career. We've got a few interesting quotes here. Remembering Eddie Jrdan, 1948 to 2025, he did have a Cosworth engine. And this is the Cosworth tribute, which I think is quite interesting, saying today the motorsport world has lost one of its most colourful and passionate figures. All of us at Cosworth are deeply saddened by the passing of Eddie Jrdan, aged 76. Eddie's journey in Formula 1 began in 1991 when Jordon Grand Prix entered the championship with, let's be fair, it was a beautiful 191 chassis, as I've already mentioned, the blue and the green, the Irish green, which worked very well with 7-Up, didn't it? And it was powered by their HB Cosworth engine. That legendary first season saw the team punch well above their weight, which is kind of the mantra for Jrdan from the outset, finishing fourth on 2 occasions, and will forever be remembered for giving Michael Schumacher his Formula 1 debut at Spa. But it was not only Michael Schumacher that Jrdan gave its intro to. People like Rubens Barrichello and Eddie Irvine, to name a few. And if it wasn't for Jrdan, we may not have had a Johnny Herbert, we may not have had a David Coulthard. And later on, Giancarlo Fisichella in his second season in Formula 1, Jarno Trulli ended up going to Jrdan. Damon Hill, it saved his career in a way after Arrows, and Damon Hill won Jordan's first race in what was that absolutely epic 1998 Belgian Grand Prix. And after that, Jrdan won 3 more races, 2 with Heinz Howell Frentzen and 1 with Giancarlo Fisichella again. The slightly controversial one because he never got to celebrate it on the podium. And that's something Eddie Jrdan came out on his podcast and said, in spite of his 4 wins, we only heard the Irish national anthem twice, because the first one in 1998, they didn't have it available, funnily enough. So they had the British national anthem, which is not particularly good. This is obviously fans loving Eddie Jrdan here. There you go. I mean, it's brilliant, isn't it? Billy Munger's got an interesting... Billy Monger had there he is with Billy Monger, and he's come out and said, this is one of the many contributions. What a man who absolutely full to the brim with true spirit and heart. I absolutely second that. A welcoming friend to me when I first arrived in the paddock all those years ago and became a small part of the crazy world of F1. He's an absolute crackers at times, as well it must be said, but underneath all the bravado, he was a true gentleman who lit up any room he entered and made the world a place of fun that we were lucky to be a part of. Absolutely, Billy. I second that. The FIA have come out. Again, the word legend is quite rightfully, I think, spouted. He made an invaluable contribution to global motorsport throughout his life. They said, all of us at the FIA, deepest condolences, absolutely, from us as well. And he said, Eddie will always be remembered as a great sportsman and passionate ambassador of Formula 1 on and off the track. Here's Damon Hill giving his rendition, which I think is quite interesting, to BBC Sport, saying, he's basically saying that there'll never be anyone like him.
And shocked, we're all very sad. And shocked, we knew that Eddie was fighting the disease, and whilst we knew it was serious, we thought there might be a chance that he'd win, but sad.
And that's the saddest thing. He looked ill. So at times, maybe, when you put the 2 and 2 together, he never looked that ill, though. And that's a credit to Eddie. I mean, you can't imagine this guy I mean, you know, even as a kid in Formula 1, not being here, and that's one of the saddest things.
He's lost that, and there'll never be anyone like Eddie Jordon.
No,
we'll
absolutely not.
What he was like, and my just thoughts go to the Jordon family, who are lovely people, and Eddie was a huge influence on me and many people in motorsport and around the world. There'll never be anyone like him.
Can you just sum up the influence Eddie Jordon had on Formula 1?
I don't think there'll ever be one like him. And when we say that, it also means I don't think there'll ever be a team like him. He came in. He was one of the last of the entrepreneurs, let's say, the classic entrepreneurs. He had to wheel and deal. I mean, if there was a real Del Boy of Formula 1, it would have been Eddie Jordon with his wheeling and dealing. And I say that because at times he almost told barefaced lies to get money, and convince people. And obviously, it did pay off in the end to get sponsorship and stuff, which almost would be unheard of now. But I think it's absolutely amazing.
In this country.
Well, he was gregarious, as you know. Yep. He was irreverent. He was crazy. And he also was. I lived in Ireland when I raced with Eddie, and I was privileged to have won a Grand Prix with Eddie and seen the effect. But he influenced everyone, and there isn't a single person in that era and since really has not been affected positively in some way by Eddie. He gave a huge amount to charity. He never stopped. He never wasted a single second of his life.
And that's the thing. He lived for the moment. He did give a huge amount to charity, but we didn't even know about it. He wouldn't like something like influencers or so, you know, on social media, like lambast about it and celebrate about it. Now, he was quite, you know, once he got a success, he was quite a general man. A genuine guy. This is him at Goodwood, which I think is interesting, with the classic, obviously, Jordon 191. Yes, that is Eddie Jordon in the car. Let's have a quick listen, shall we?
21, Jordon.
The 191. Oh, he stalled it. Did he stall?
He's not happy with the clutch either.
No, he stalled it. It's easy to stall an F1 car, isn't it? Come on. Come on, Eddie. Get it going and listen
Eddie
to that.
Is underway. He was a useful Formula 3 driver before he became a Formula 1 team owner.
Not a lot of people know that.
This is the 1991 Jordon, a very pretty car.
It is. One of the nicest Jordans.
I'm smiling for once. Grand Prix weekends are known to be fairly strewn with tension and stress, and that's the name of the business. You know, there's a lot of pressure on everybody to perform, and I promise you...
This is 1997, as you can see.
One of the favourite weekends I have in the year.
I mean, don't want that, do we? Yeah, that's, absolutely fantastic, isn't it? This is McLaren saying they're saddened to hear the passing of Eddie Jordon, a true legend of the sport. His passionate contributions left an incredible mark. Obviously, thoughts with his family. Rest in peace, Eddie. Yeah. Williams Racing again are saddened to hear. Once again, the term icon, charisma, happy, these are all things that a lot of people are saying, which I think is brilliant. As a team owner, he nurtured some of the sport's greatest drivers and boldly led an independent team. And that's it, the last of the independent teams in a golden era for the sport. His one-of-a-kind energy and insight as a broadcaster made him a beloved figure on our TV screens. Our thoughts and love are with his family and friends. Absolutely they are. He was the last of the independents, wasn't he? He very much was. This is Silverstone, former, and the interesting thing about Silverstone, just across from Silverstone, there is was Jordon HQ, now Aston Martin HQ. Former team boss, he's passed away at 76. As we know, deeply saddened to hear the news. Thoughts and prayers. Aston Martin, and this is obviously Eddie Jordon's old team. They say we're deeply saddened to hear the passing of Jordon. His impact will be felt across the motorsport community for generations to come. He says our thoughts are with his family, friends and colleagues at this time. Now, Andy Cowell said Eddie Jordon was he's the team principal of Aston Martin. He's calling him one of the motorsport greats, a wonderful human, charismatic leader, founding obviously the team in 1991. Let's be fair, no Jordon, no Aston Martin. His vision laid the foundations for us, he says, and leaves a lasting legacy for the entire motorsport community. Today, we pay tribute to the legend of the sport, and our thoughts are with his family, friends and colleagues. Absolutely they are. Stake F1 team, using the same photo, it's nice though. Stake F1 team, deeply saddened again. It was a unique character who defined an unforgettable era in Formula 1, driven by extraordinary passion. Greatly missed. Thoughts of everyone of Eddie's family at the time. Absolutely. So this was, I think, other than guessing Lewis Hamilton was there. I want to play this one. This is one of the greatest moments. Links are in the description below. When the Ferrari team boss in 2010, the German Grand Prix, Felipe Massa probably should have won it. If we're honest. Sadly, he did not win it, and Eddie Jrdan then absolutely took to task because team orders at the German Grand Prix stopped Felipe Massa winning it. Felipe, Fernando is faster than you. Do you understand? And this is Eddie Jrdan putting on judgment, I think, Stefano Domenicali, the team boss.
Did a massive and incredible job. And I already know the question.
What is the question? Tell us.
Well, I can guess.
Tell me what you think.
I think, to be honest, we felt that Felipe was a bit slower. Vettel was catching up with the tires, so that was the reason why.
Show us the evidence. There isn't.
I don't have to show you, Eddie.
We saw it on the times.
You know, it's not true. You are in this business since too many years to say that. But anyway, I take the point, but honestly, I don't think this is really a great point on that.
One last point, Stefano, before you disappear off. He may have been slightly slower. He may have caused problems for Fernando, backing Fernando into Sebastian. But this is Formula One. Rule 39.1 says team orders that interfere with the result.
It's savage, isn't it? It's savage.
What people at home want to see is Fernando and Felipe fighting. And if Sebastian gets involved in that battle, so be it. That's Formula One. We want it to be fair.
I totally agree with you. But the team order is not a problem. The problem is the most interest of the team, and that's it. It's not a problem of interfering with anyone.
There isn't a person in this place or a viewer on the television who did not understand what Robin Smedley said about apologising, the way the race ran out. There was clearly no fault with Felipe. It was team orders in a different colours.
No, this is not true. This is
Oh,
not true.
I love it!
Eddie, first and second, smile. I know that you cannot smile, but smile.
But you will always smile, no?
I have to. I mean, we are very pleased.
There you go. I mean, yeah, Eddie Jrdan calling it out, absolutely. But who could forget this? Again, link in the description. Damon Hill.
And Ireland.
Oh, Murray Walker. V10s. Damon Hill's first victory.
Comes home with insight of victory.
Here we go. Old school bus stop.
22nd victory into the bus stop. He is yards away from the finish, followed by his teammate Ralph Schumacher. And Damon Hill wins in Belgium. Fantastic. Schumacher second. And Lacey third.
What a moment.
Wow, what an unbelievable.
There he is.
And
There's the man. Look at him.
At last, after all his efforts. Get ready.
There you go. Let's play it again. What an absolute legendary race. I mean, it's what can you say? What can you say? I mean Eddie Jrdan. What a man. He's known also as an Irish businessman. Now a television personality. He also worked firstly at the Bank of Ireland, which is something I didn't know. He wasn't too bad. He won the Irish Kart Championship all the way back in 1971 and moved to Formula Ford in 1974. He was born in the Wentworth Nursing Home in Dublin all those years back in 1948. The son of Eileen and Paddy. Oh, Paddy Jrdan, what an Irish name. So, he bought a car upon his in 1971, and that's obviously when he won. At the end of 79, short of money, he founded his first team, and it wasn't called Jrdan, it was Eddie Jrdan Racing. And it ran drivers, do you remember? David Leslie, James Weaver. In 1983, they signed a certain legend goat pundit by the name of Martin Brundle, who finished second to Ayrton Senna in British F3. A few years later, he won the F3 Championship with a certain Johnny Herbert. He also entered Formula 3000, whose first wins came with drivers Herbert and Martin Donnelly, to name but a few. The 1989 Jrdan, they dominated the season with a certain French Sicilian driver by the name of Jean Lacey. During 1989, he also hired Reynard chief designer Gary Anderson, becoming Donnelly's engineer and overseeing operations. Yeah, Gary Anderson, the guy who designed the Jrdan 191. And it was in 1991, with 7-Up serving as the title sponsor. The team employed with Anderson as its car designer. It wasn't very good. As you probably know, they had their engines supplied by Cosworth under the partnership of Ford. During the season, Jrdan gave obviously Michael Schumacher his Formula 1 debut when their other guy went to prison. I mean, it's not just banned for the race like, for example, Kevin Magnussen was, or Ben Hill. The other driver went to prison. I mean, imagine that now. So they sort of got a engine partnership with similar to BAR in 2002, but I think by then Jrdan was slowly in decline, which is which is not particularly great, is it? But they did win. They had two pole positions overall. One at 94 at Belgium, and the other one at 1999 at the European Grand Prix, where Frentzen probably, had he won, he could have been in the line for that championship. Sadly, he was not. They also had the Hart engines, and it didn't start to come really good until 1995 when they had the Peugeot engines. McLaren basically gave up the Peugeot engines in 1995. Jrdan had them. They kept those engines to 97. But fast forward to 1996, when both Edie Irvine had left to go to Ferrari. They ended up with Martin Brundle, the ex-Le Mans winner and world sports car champion, if you will. But the team, sadly, they didn't make a podium all year. And 1996 also saw the team in the end adopt the bright yellow colour scheme. It started off as kind of like a gold Benson Hedges, but then it was the yellow, and then began the iconic yellow colour scheme from 97. It did see departures of both drivers. Barrichello left, and Martin Brundle went to what ended up being, the legend that is Martin Brundle for ITV, and he had Giancarlo Fisichella and Ralf Schumacher. Now, the interesting thing was, Nigel Mansell could have been in that car. He tested the previous Jordon, the 1996 Jordon. Many people suggested, had Nigel Mansell tested the 1997 Jordon in pre-season testing, he would have got along with it. Could he have won a race? Possibly, because you had two rookies there. They could have won Argentina, but Ralf Schumacher decided to hit Giancarlo Fisichella in the race when they were both looking really good. And possibly Germany, but Fisichella ended up getting a puncture, making a mistake, and we had the legendary last victory of Gerhard Berger. But fast forward to 1998, Damon Hill, who was a graduate of Jordan's F3000 program, he did replace Fisichella. Fisichella went to Benetton, which were then Renault and now Alpine. They also had Mugen Honda engines. No, that is not a works engine. And the Belgian Grand Prix, after the red flag, we all remember that crash, Damon Hill led for the first few laps, passed by Michael Schumacher. Michael Schumacher hit David Coulthard. Damon Hill then retook the lead. Ralf Schumacher second. And it was under the final safety car that Damon Hill said, basically, we need team orders or we're not going to finish 1-2. We're battling. And that's when they finished 1-2. Sadly, the next year, Ralf Schumacher was gone. Michael Schumacher apparently was very unhappy with Eddie Jordon, the way that the team orders were done. You screwed my brother's race. You didn't let my brother win, etc., etc. Michael Schumacher, a man that probably should know a lot about team orders. And then Eddie, I'll buy him out of his contract. Eddie was like, yeah, sure, fine. And then Ralf Schumacher left for Williams. Well, he didn't do too bad there, did he? And it was Heinz-Harald Frentzen that came in. It was kind of like a swap in the end. And Frentzen won a wet French Grand Prix by a brilliant strategy. They had a guy quite far away, the Jordon, where the rain was coming from, saying it's absolutely hooning it down, it's chucking it down. Then they filled up Frentzen to the brim and said, you're going to the end, mate. And that he did, and won the French Grand Prix. In Italy, in the Italian Grand Prix, he was second. He was lying second. And that famous Mika Hakkinen wobble into the first chicane and into the gravel, out the race. And then we sadly had the shots of him crying in the woods, but then Heinz-Harald Frentzen winning another race. Probably could have won the 1999 Nürburgring Grand Prix as well. So, yeah. And then, 1999 was the peak of Jordon, and they'd slowly declined from them. But they did win a race in 2003 with Giancarlo Fisichella, similar to the French Grand Prix in 1999, where they filled the Jordon up to the brim. And yes, Kimi Räikkönen technically crossed the line first in that race because it was red flag. They did the countback, and in the end, Giancarlo Fisichella was handed the trophy. So, that's all the plus points for Jordon Grand Prix. And in 2004, they did financially struggle. Their future was kind of like questionable, and he ended up selling the team in 2005. But I think, like many people, I remember the awesomeness of Jordon Grand Prix in the 90s and to the end of the 90s, where they absolutely peaked. Anyway, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it for us. Thank you so much if you watched this. I really enjoyed talking about Eddie Jordon. Maybe we'll do a bit more. We also have another video that we did last year of the top, three or five Jordon drivers, which might be worth paying a visit now. I'll probably share it on our Facebook site. We do have a Facebook site on the Hot Lap. It is in our links below. We're also on Twitter, and we do have a podcast. So thank you very much. We will no doubt speak to you soon. It is the Chinese Grand Prix this weekend. We've also got WRC Kenya, but I think the most important thing this weekend is we remember Eddie Jrdan, and remember to absolutely get the absolute most out of every second that we've got on this earth, and that's something that I'm sure Eddie Jrdan absolutely laments as well. Thank you very much.